super floods of Pakistan. Well, it affected 20 million people. So just to put in perspective, this one was 33 million. We hope and pray and also plan for ensuring that no such bigger disaster overtakes this particular catastrophe, because wrapping one's head around the sheer numbers to service has been a monumental challenge. So everyone has responded, of course, wonderfully, but it is to be remembered that while we are building for resilience, Pakistan lies in one of the largest floodplains of the world. And it has created now the way the topography of certainly of the province of Sindh, whose chief minister is present here, has been transformed probably forever. There are lakes that are sitting there, the size, probably over 100 kilometers, impossible to drain for a year, transforming the land we till, the livelihoods that live off it, and of course giving our great Indus River, which has been a lifeline for Pakistan, a new geography. So while we're living in these areas, what I call the axis of vulnerability, it is time to look very hard at how risk management is part of a cascade of ongoing, timely, and agile investments that can build up the defenses, the shields that societies need to stand up to what the Secretary General called the war that nature is waging now on the world. As one of my colleagues said here very ably, Pakistan has been next door to a long war, one of the longest war in the world, and home to a high cohort of refugees. We are a hospitable people, but we are no match, ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, no match for a war that nature may unleash through no fault of our own. Now, this is not about ascribing responsibility, or this is about burden sharing. We are seeking to build that coalition of the willing to do what the Prime Minister very succinctly stated, to kickstart a strategic reset in how societies think about resilience and sustainability, in how societies work across borders as nation states and people, to create new islands of resilience that grow to become a planet that we can be confident to inhabit for the future without risk. Now, I just want to say that strategic interventions in rebuilding with flood resilience do not mean the $16.3 billion that Minister Ehsan has spoken to you about are about frontline basic flood resilience and some segues into the storm drains, the large storm drains the country needs, because we need a new architecture of flood resilience, clearly, as well as an old one that needs investment. We have one of the largest man-made irrigation systems in the world. But having said that, and we maintain it very well, but having said that, what is in our way right now? Two things. Capacity, that is technical capacity, the ability to build bankable projects that we are told to compete with on the financing market, because the amount of projectization that is needed is literally the size of 2 or 3 small European countries. So yes, we need the technical capacity, and we need it yesterday. What is going to, I think, swing things for us to kind of make the worm turn, if you like, is an uninterrupted, the second thing needed is uninterrupted supply of funding and resources. Now, when I say uninterrupted, what I mean is when that link is broken in the chain of funding, when a province, when a district, when a people, when a community has to wait, and a project has begun, it is lying there, someone, as we call them, as PC1s on paper, it does not translate into a defense by the next time the disaster rolls round, because the province, then that district, because all adaptation eventually is local, it must be local, it must have feet on the ground, will not catch on or have built that resilience by the time the next summer rolls round. And we have lived through a I did not show you the 2022 climate video that I showed at COP. That was a new archipelago of complete disaster, famines, flash fires, forest fires, floods, and of course the glacial lake outburst floods. They've tripled. We have the largest number of glaciers outside the polar region. They are also melting fast. So we need to create that wall, and I am asking very clearly for that lifeline that will manage, that will help Pakistanis manage predictability for basic survival. And that is really the polycrisis, only way to confront the polycrisis that is. And yes, that's a new word for the 21st century, because the challenges for the 21st century are entirely new. I just hope, ladies and gentlemen, that we are able to build up the speed and agility to respond with the kind of compassion that is needed and foresight. Thank you very much for your. I think I overspoke. Thank you.
I now request His Excellency Mr. Ayaz Sadiq, Minister, Economic Affairs Division, Government of Pakistan, to say a few words.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and assalamu alaikum. My colleagues have given all details that were necessary to be shared with you, and speaking in the end means we are short of time, and I'm sure we are. So I'll be very brief. No, not only you, but... So, on behalf of the Government of Pakistan and the Ministry of Economic Affairs, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my profound appreciation to the United Nations for the support in organizing and making excellent arrangements for this very important conference. Since the outset of the floods, as directed by the Prime Minister of Pakistan, the Ministry of Economic Affairs has worked closely with the United Nations in Pakistan and the international development partners for provision of immediate humanitarian relief, assistance, rehabilitation for flood affectees. At the beginning of August 2022, the Ministry of Economic Affairs immediately liaised with the development partners and took steps including establishment of a steering committee comprising of development partners, international, national stakeholders for ensuring better coordination and supervision of humanitarian relief work. The Ministry of Economic Affairs also organized a donors conference in late August 2022, presided over by the Prime Minister and attended by a large number of development partners, aimed at highlighting Pakistan's immediate relief and rescue needs. Excellencies, our bilateral, multilateral partners have been most forthcoming in their response to Pakistan's call for help. The solid collaboration with our development partners brought forth immediate assistance in various forms, provided relief for millions of the stranded Pakistanis, for which we are grateful. The assistance included cash transfers for the flood-affected people who had lost everything: food, medicine, shelter, clean drinking water, etc. Our development partners have always helped Pakistan during the different calamities faced, including the many devastating earthquakes and floods in the past. Although I would have preferred to have thanked each development partner for having supported us during the difficult times, yet that would have taken a lot of the allocated time. The Ministry of Economic Affairs, being the government's main arm for coordinating international assistance, continues to fulfill its role monitoring, supervising the inflow of aid. It is pertinent to mention that Prime Minister of Pakistan has given directions for vigorous scrutiny and monitoring, ensuring complete transparency in the utilization of the valuable assistance provided by our development partners. It is with this promise that we will continue to partner with the international community in implementing the 4RF and planning ahead to meet challenges of climate change. The Government of Pakistan looks forward to significant support from its development partners in rebuilding Pakistan in the aftermath of the devastation caused by the floods. In this regard, the Ministry of Economic Affairs Division will adopt a robust system for monitoring and work with the international development partners, ensuring proper follow-up on the assistance pledges made during the conference. The effective and efficient utilization in Pakistan, leading to focused people-centric development and resilient rehabilitation and reconstruction process. I would once again like to express my sincere gratitude to the United Nations for organizing this conference and to the international development partners for their continued support. I tried my best to read as quick as possible, in shorthand in fact, and I've omitted a few things which I wanted to say so that we'll save time. Thank you, co-chairs.
Before I request World Bank President Mr. Martin Reza to say a few words and give closing remarks, I wish to acknowledge and thank him for his very quick arrangement of the round table at the time of annual meetings in Washington last October, post-flood episode which Pakistan suffered. Thank you, Mr. Reza, once again. Floor is yours for the closing remarks. Thank you.
Excellencies, ministers, distinguished participants, thank you, Chair, for giving me the opportunity to offer some brief closing remarks. The 2022 floods were an unprecedented disaster, as I was able to witness firsthand in Sindh province last September. Let me begin by congratulating the ministers and all the Pakistani authorities for your leadership and speed, both at the federal and provincial levels, in the immediate relief and humanitarian response. Let me also commend you in how you are planning and framing the massive reconstruction efforts as outlined in the presentation of Honourable Minister Iqbal just now. The World Bank has worked closely with the Asian Development Bank, the European Union and the United Nations in supporting preparation of the post-disaster needs assessment and parts of the resilient recovery, rehabilitation and reconstruction framework, the 4RF. And I trust I speak also on behalf of all of us in thanking you for the good partnership. The framework sets out a clearly prioritized and sequenced set of activities over the short, medium and long term. Its ambition matches the sheer magnitude of the disaster that has hit your country, including through the PDNA's estimates of damages and losses. We welcome the fact that the first strategic objective of the 4RF relates to the governance, institutional transparency and capacity aspects of the reconstruction effort. These will be absolutely essential to make the reconstruction journey a success, and you can count on all of us to support you to implement these principles and help ensure a well-targeted, efficient and transparent reconstruction process. The 4RF document represents an important foundation for our joint efforts over the coming months and years. I understand it is a living document which will be enriched as specific reconstruction projects crystallize further. We are pleased that a number of these projects, including in the provinces, have already started and have been designed following the 4RF principles. We also welcome the Government of Pakistan's long-term vision to ensure national resilience to climate-induced disasters. The Prime Minister and Honourable Minister Sherry Rahman talked of a strategic reset. Indeed, the costs of doing nothing are just too high. The World Bank's Climate Change Development Report for Pakistan that was launched at COP27 with the participation of the Honourable Minister, thank you for joining us at that event, suggests that the economic losses from extreme heat, flood and air pollution could total 8 to 20% of GDP by 2050. This could wipe out a significant share of Pakistan's economic progress. The poor would be most affected by failure to act, with rural poverty rates at risk of remaining stuck at current high levels of above 30%, even 30 years from now. The 22 floods are a tragic reminder of just these risks. Excellencies, distinguished participants, the 4RF reconstruction framework rightly emphasizes the need to ensure macroeconomic stability and sustain related structural reforms, and Minister Dar, you spoke about this. While international financial assistance for reconstruction will be critical, it can only be effective if the economic reform momentum led by your government is maintained. Economic conditions are challenging, not just because of the costs of the floods on GDP and the burden of relief and reconstruction efforts on the budget. High global energy and food prices and a legacy of poor fiscal management add to the burden. New spending for flood relief and recovery must therefore be balanced with the need to keep spending within sustainable limits. This can only happen if relief and recovery efforts are carefully targeted towards those most in need. Over the medium term, a truly resilient recovery would not be possible without additional fiscal and structural reforms. This is the time to reduce leakages and losses in expenditure, for instance in the power sector, that are weakening public finances, to address the inefficiencies that are muting investments and exports, and to better target social support to those most in need, and to make sure that those that are most fortunate in society and all sectors contribute to this national reconstruction effort through more progressive, wider-based taxation. Ladies and gentlemen, as the Prime Minister has emphasized, Pakistan has shown incredible resilience throughout its 75-year history. We trust that it is in these moments of national tragedy that your country will come together, as it has come today with the welcome presence of both federal and provincial authorities around a national consensus focused on sustainable, inclusive, and resilient development. You can count on the World Bank's continued support as you work to realize this vision and your country's tremendous potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Heiser. Before we take a coffee break, please bear with me for a minute for just some housekeeping practical announcements. Lunch will be served one floor above at the mezzanine floor, level 2, the entrance level. You can avail the lunchtime to also visit room 25, where UN agencies will exhibit materials of their work in Pakistan, and colleagues will be available for any queries. After lunch, at the end of plenary session 2, we will be breaking out into 2 sessions. Provinces, Perspective and Humanitarian Spotlight, which will be in this room, and the second on achieving sustainable climate resilience, showcasing the living Indus, will be held in room 25, and there will be someone to guide you there. Also, as you already know, there are no food or drinks allowed in the conference room. Thank you so much. I now invite you for coffee, which is served right outside this room, and we will be grateful if we could reconvene after 15 minutes. Thank you so much. Humanitarian Spotlight, which will be in this room.
Immigration problem, no problem. For spouse visa, family visa extension, family visit visas, business visitor visa, EU settlement, immigration appeals, asylum appeals. Get work permit license for your business to bring skilled workers from overseas. Please contact the top-ranked immigration barrister of UK, Barrister Kasfar Hussain Varaij. Mobile number 07501981095.
ताजा मछली, उसपे ये मिर्च मसाला।
अरे गिल्लू,
मिर्चों से मसूड़ों में जलन है कोई हल? कोलगेट हर्बल नेचुरल है। कोलगेट हर्बल, लौंग, नीम, यूकलिप्टस और पुदीना वाला कोलगेट हर्बल मुंह में ठंडक पहुंचाए, दांत मसूड़े सेहतमंद बनाए। मसूड़ों में जलन अब नहीं। कोलगेट हर्बल अपनाओ, जो चाहो वो खाओ। मजबूत दांत, सेहतमंद मसूड़े नेचुरली।
ये है आपका अपना रेडियो स्टेशन। मैं हूँ आपका दोस्त, होस्ट मदहोश। आज करेंगे बातें आराम से।
जदों तकिया ते चढ़ गया चा, ते दिल मेरा डिंगलिंग 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 करे। जदों तकिया ते चढ़ गया चा, ते दिल मेरा डिंग
करेला
जुड़वा है पर अलग है
दादा जान को खाना पड़ेगा।
एक सख्त तो दूसरा है नरम मिजाज, एक सख्त तो दूसरा है नरम मिजाज। पर अम्मी को नाज।
ये जिद्दी दाग निकालते निकालते कपड़े तो खुरदरे हो जाएंगे।
बिल्कुल नहीं, सर्फ एक्सेल का नया अलग अंदाज। ये जिद्दी दाग निकाले पर इनके सॉफ्ट पर्ल्स रखी कपड़े नर्म मुलायम।
सॉफ्ट
सर्फ एक्सेल, दागों पर सख्त, कपड़ों पर नर्म।
मुबारक हो, मुबारक हो,
मुबारक हो।
हाँ मुबारक हो, मुबारक हो,
मुबारक हो, मुबारक हो,
मुबारक हो,
मुबारक हो,
मुबारक हो,
मुबारक हो,
मुबारक हो।
मुबारक हो।
तमाम यूफोन कस्टमर्स को मुबारक हो, क्योंकि सिर्फ यूफोन सुपर इनामी ऑफर से हर 100 रुपए के रिचार्ज पर यूफोन कस्टमर्स रोजाना हासिल कर रहे हैं करोड़ों रुपए मालियत के यकीनी इनामात। इसके साथ साथ बजरिया कुरानदाजी जीतेंगे शानदार 1300 सीसी गाड़ियाँ, बेशुमार मोटरसाइकिल्स और सोने के झुमके। ये ऑफर मौजूद